Hey everybody, Nerdcore here with the Comic-Booksters podcast. On April 23rd, we were invited guests of the Williamsport Comic Con. We cannot thank them enough for the invite, and we had the chance to do interviews with a number of creators, including Dave Sharpe, Aletha Martinez, Darren Alk, and Greg LaRoque. I am personally happy to be able to present these to you now. So to get started, here is our interview with Dave Sharpe, and keep watching throughout the day as we upload more videos of these interviews that we were able to do. Hey, Nerdcore from the Comic-Booksters podcast here from Williamsport Comic Con 2017, and I'm sitting here with Dave Sharpe. How are you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing great. I'm
glad to hear that. Thank you for sitting down with us today.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the industry. You've been here for quite a while.
Yes.
So I guess the first thing I would like to know is just how did you get your start in comics?
I will credit the Joe Kubert School.
Okay.
I graduated there in 1990, and they are really good about placing people as best they can. And at the time, the esteemed Darren Alk actually was working in the bullpen and called the school and said, hey, we're looking for some letterers. I had just graduated, and along with a couple of people, I went and applied for the job and got it. And so I graduated Kubert's in May 1990, and I was on staff at Marvel October of 90, so like within a few months. So it was really exciting.
That's really fast.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Okay. So what appeals to you most? I mean, I noticed that a lot of your work is as a letterer.
Yeah.
What appeals to you most about being a letterer in the comics industry? And how does it vary from other jobs?
Well, good question. Being in Kubert School, I can draw, I can color, I have a bunch of drawings at my table and so forth. But I realized, I think maybe at the Kubert School or maybe my first year at Marvel, that I couldn't make a living drawing comics. I'm not fast enough, and you really have to have not only be good, and I don't even know if I'm good enough to do it, but you have to be fast. And I realized that I want to be in this field. I wanted to be in the industry. One of my loves is comic books, and so I figured, what other aspects I could do. And we had taken lettering classes in Kubert School,
right?
And so obviously was on staff for lettering. So I figured out, let me just pursue that career.
What appeals to you most about primarily working as a letterer? I noticed that is your primary job, what you've been doing the most. And how does it vary from other jobs as far as penciling, inking, and colorist?
Okay. Yeah, definitely my career is a letterer. I'm most known for my as being a letterer. I had gone on staff as a letterer, so that's how it kind of. But I realized that I was just too slow to pencil a regular book. Even if I had the skills, maybe, but I know I was just too slow to do it, and that I wouldn't be able to do it. I looked at doing some inking, and I'm a better inker than penciler, but same thing. It just wasn't going to be fast enough to make enough money to live.
Right.
And I really want. And so the lettering, as I was on staff doing it, I got better and better, and within a couple of years, I was able to go freelance. So that was kind of why I went that route.
and that's a good thing to know about yourself. So,
yeah.
Having been in this business for almost 25 years.
27.
Jeez. My apologies there, Dave.
No, it's okay.
Away from you.
It's 7. How's this? 20 years as a digital letterer.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You've worked for a variety of different publishers.
Yes.
How is the style different between one publisher as opposed to another? Like, how is working for DC as opposed to Marvel as opposed to independent publisher?
Marvel and DC are very similar in terms of overallness. Both are big companies. Editing is very similar in terms of they have bigger books to worry about than the one you're working on. So your book is always like I've been doing Green Lanterns for like 7 or 8 years now, and the Green Lanterns is part of a bigger universe. So you have to allow for the editing to come in after the fact, and say Flash is supposed to be somewhere, that you have to reference that. And so Marvel's the same way. Both of them. The one thing I'll say about them is it's not a negative. Both of them, you're working for them,
right?
And so you lose your Friday nights. There is no, like, if you want to work for Marvel or DC, you're working on your press late at night. I'm the last man on the wheel. So As far as working for independents, I get, at this point in my career, they listen to me, so I'm able to help. I really like working with independent comics because I think there's a lot of young talent out there that are never going to get to work for Marvel and DC. Not because they're not good enough, it's just not going to happen for whatever, the stars don't align. But they're so good, and I think there's such a market for independent comics. So I love working with them, and especially when they will listen now, and I think I can help make their comics better. So I think that's the difference. Like with independents, I think I'm making their comics better. With Marvel and DC, I'm always doing my best. Like I'm always doing my best. So but it is definitely a different approach depending if I'm working for one of the big boys, or for the Valiant. Valiant's my other big one I'm working for a lot lately. And see, they work the same ways that Marvel and DC. It's all the same editors,
right?
So they move around all over the place. So
okay. Now, are there any properties that you haven't had the chance to work with in your career that you would love to take a shot at?
I have been. Wow, it's a great question because I'm. When I was working for when I worked at Marvel, I was the cleanup man, and I took my job seriously. Like so, I killed books. So if something was going to be canceled, it would be me, and understandably. Now I get a chance to work on more high profile. So like, I'm happy to be working on Harley Quinn. And I think some of my best work is in Harley Quinn. That said, I was just worked on a Lobo job. I had never done a Lobo, so Harley Quinn and Lobo was a lot of fun to do. Highly recommend that. And it's out of continuity, so it's it's like a cool, great one shot. And San Keith, it's awesome, and then you get. I was able to work with Alan. Let's see, a couple of different people I've been able to work with that I really want to work with all my life. Neil Adams was the big one. It was hard to work with him, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It was demanding, but I was willing. They put me on the book because they knew I would be able to meet the challenge. He's very challenging to work with. It doesn't, and it's not a put down. It's just a matter of he has certain things he really wants. So sometimes I would say be careful who you want to work with. But I've been blessed to work with almost everyone. I can't think of many people. I haven't worked with Jim Lee yet, so I'd like to do something on Jim stuff, But so yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
It's a must buy. And just to finish up here, what advice would you give young artists as far as trying to break into the business? What would you relay to them to be successful?
To start with, what is your goal? Find really what seriously is your goal. If your goal is to work for Marvel and DC, your work is cut out for you. Do nothing but draw Marvel and DC. They don't want to see your Blue Buster character. They don't want to see anything. They want to see Wonder Woman and they want to see Spider-Man. They don't want to see your characters. They really don't. And that might be upsetting for some people because you might have some great ideas. They don't care. And again, I don't mean that in a bad way, that they don't care about your characters. They're too busy running Captain America into the dirt. So they're not going to worry about your stuff. If you want to work for them, move out to Burbank or move to Manhattan and get an internship. That's the best way you'll get a job. I'm pretty sure they're still running interns and so forth, but I've seen people, the interns I saw that get jobs, they're all working today. So that's probably the best way. The other way is these little cons right here. If you are in your local towns and you have cons that are doing these wonderful cons, they bring in a couple of big names, and then everyone else comes in. This is the way you cut your teeth. I liken it to the local rock and roll band. You get a band together in your garage, and then you go out there and play all the crappy little clubs. Not that these are crappy conventions by any means, but you got to come out and do these conventions. You got to come out, get your name out there, get a banner, and produce. You can't sit there and do. No one wants headshots. You have to do a comic book. That's what I would be like. Do sequential art, because everyone here could do pinups. We all can do pinups. Not all of us can do sequential art.
Right.
And that's, I think, so work on one. What define what your goal is first. If you want to seriously work for the big boys, you can get there, but it's not going to happen overnight unless you position yourself. So it's like rock and roll. It's who you know as much as how good you are.
All right.
So
And for our viewers out there, anything they should be checking out coming down the pipeline, Dave?
Harley Quinn is really as I'll pump the most. Valiant Exo Manowar is excellent, and Faith is one of my other really books I really enjoy working on. And I will say, read the current Green Lantern books are excellent. They're really turning things around. Green Lantern's number 23 I lettered Thursday and Friday. It's got one of the saddest if they keep it hasn't been edited yet. Okay. So if they keep the ending they have, you'll think back to this podcast and go, he was right. I have got tears in my eyes. So I highly recommend those few books.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Mr. Sharpe. I do appreciate it.
No problem. Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.